All right, hey, well, it's time to trim the fruit trees. And we've had these trees a good 30 years, 20 years, 25, somewhere in there. Time just keeps going by. I don't know how old they are, but they do produce every year. And I prune them every year. And I really don't know, I'm not professionally trained at this, so but I was trained by a professional, so this is what he told me. A couple main things. Try to keep the inside of the tree open, so trim things that are growing into the inside. Try to trim branches that cross each other, and realize that anything growing vertically is not going to produce fruit. So basically anything growing vertically we're going to cut off. And anything you want to continue growing outward, you're going to want to find a bud that is facing outward and not to the side or up, and trim just past that bud. And so using these kind of general rules of thumb, I've been trimming these trees every year. And like I said, the person that taught me thought my trees look pretty good. And lo and behold, we do get fruit. Sometimes the raccoons get it before we do. But I'm going to make an effort today to trim these. We do want to trim in the winter. And preferably before the buds start coming out, because once the little buds start coming out, as you start trimming them, you can knock them off, and then that kills the growth. So hopefully before that. And you do want to pick up the trimmings at least within a couple weeks, and a lot of people burn them. I generally compost them. They take a long time to compost, but I do like to just kind of throw them back in the earth, since we've got space around here to just sort of discard them over the hill. So yeah, that's what I'm doing today. And hopefully, in the spring we'll see some flowers, which is always nice. And then, I don't know, late summer, maybe we'll get some fruit. So that's what we're planning. Well, here's the one I just finished, and I still see a lot of bigger wood I could take off. Another rule of thumb is you can take off about 1/3 without hurting the tree. And to be honest, though, a 30-year-old tree is probably, as far as fruit bearing, and maybe at the end of its life. But we're going to hang in there because we really like them. But I might take more off later, and I like to build furniture out of these pieces. So, as I look at some of these vertical pieces, I see a foot and maybe a chair back and maybe a seat. And then who knows, whatever else. And then I did want to kind of take notice, we do have a woodpecker. Comes every year. We've named him Rick, and he just has totally taken care of the bugs and the sap in this tree. He really works it around, and kind of fun to watch out the kitchen window. Red-headed Rick. And then I did want to take notice too, also, these are the branches I'm going to have to haul away. They do say that possibly you could bring in some bugs, or something that's not good for your tree if you leave all the trimmings laying around, so those will have to go. And so again, this is kind of where I'm getting to as I move on to the tree that we just showed you here. So yeah, that's where I'm going. All right, and hopefully I don't get blisters with my shears, my shear hand. Well, usually first I'll go around and just kind of trim what I can from the ground, and realize that's what the deer are probably going to get too. Okay, well I thought I better do some close-ups here just to, prove the point or make the point. And I wanted you to see rules of thumb. So anything growing up, straight up, that's not going to produce fruit. That just crosses over branches above. So that's got to go. And there's actually 2 of those right here. So I'm going to try to make an example out of this one branch here. Oh, there's 3 of those. Here's another one. They grow every year, so they just kind of come back. Here's a dead piece from last year. Dead cut. I'm going to cut that one off too. And then here's a bud growing out. And this is actually kind of low, but just to make this point, there's a bud growing out. So I'm going to cut just past it so that grows out away. And that looks pretty good there. And then anything growing crossing. So as we look up here, these are crossing, and so that's pretty simple. We'll get rid of that. Heck, we'll get rid of that vertical one. It's in the way too. All these ones. Keep it in mind. We want an outward bud. Here's a good spot. And gosh, don't be shy about just removing lots of wood if it's under a third, like I mentioned. This particular case, I'm going to go here, outward bud here. Again, we're a little low for deer's sake, but we got our kitchen windows right here, so it's nice to see our tree from our kitchen window. But those are the general rules of thumb.
Around here, I don't even have a care. Oh, the mud puddles as they grow, so high and so low, and the spores they pollute our skies, and they spread throughout our hives. Birds ring in the morning, singing their songs of warning. Sometimes I wonder where I'm gonna blunder. The spring's so bitchin' around here. I don't even have a care. The cold winds blow from the north, rainy comes from the south. Sometimes we find ourselves with a day all wrapped in one, and the seasons can breathe as one, and we can feel the sun. Spring's so bitchin' around here. I don't even have a care. No, I don't. No, I don't. Spring's so gosh darn bitchin' around here.
Okay, well here's our end product. And I think I could thin out the center a little bit. And I do see one that I missed. So see if you can see that one. Kind of a sucker shooting up towards the top. But this is what we're going with for this year.